Hello, I'm Mindy Kaling.
And I am Dame Emma Thompson.
I'm an extraordinary, talented young writer and performer.
I am a 2-time Oscar-winning actress, activist, mother of dragons. Now I'm making things up.
And we'll answer some questions that we have in this cute little cup.
What's the best piece of advice someone told you that you still live by to this day?
We'll always laugh in the face of disaster.
That's a great one. My piece of advice is, before you can say I love you, you must be able to say I. It's a riddle. It's just that before you can say to somebody else that you love them, you need to be able to know who you are and what you stand for.
Yes, absolutely, because love, romantic love, is generally a projection of the impossible onto the other person. And so it's a very difficult space. And you need to be very careful with it. I think that's very good advice. Very good advice.
As a teenager in 2019, how do I not succumb to peer pressure, but also not come off as lame?
That's like saying, how do you live?
I mean, I think that the problem is everyone always says just be yourself, but then what if yourself is dorky to other people? It's very hard.
Yeah.
I think you just have to wait it out.
Absolutely trust your instincts. They are your sword and your shield, and they will never let you down. The things that you really feel inside yourself, don't crush them down because you think that other people will think that they're lame. But if you can stick to that, you'll be safer.
I was moved by that.
Like Catherine's character in Late Night, she's strong but is described as being mean and abrasive. How do you handle being a boss lady when so few people accept women in powerful positions?
So many of the adjectives that are used to describe a successful leader are attributed to men.
Indeed.
Right? Decisive is the most common because I'm very decisive.
Which would be termed bossy that's what people would say about women.
So the way I handle it is I kind of let my work speak for itself. If you kind of ignore what other people are thinking and focus on the work, and the work is good, then people don't think of you as bossy. They think of you, oh, she was decisive because the product was good.
And remember that personal power, that is to say your character, the nature of your character, which is built on every action of every day, the nature of that is your real power. And that's the power that really counts, and it's what will get you through life.
How do you handle rejection and stay confident in yourself, especially in an industry where you hear no way more often than you hear yes? How do I handle rejection? Very poorly, actually. And it's something that when you feel it enough, you get more used to it, and it sort of feels less bad. The other thing that has helped me with handling rejection is I'm always working on several different things that I care a lot about. So at any time, if I feel rejection in one thing, I'm like, okay, it stings and it never doesn't sting, but I have other things that I'm working on that I feel equally passionate about.
I've had some rejections of work that have been genuinely, I would say, quite damaging in the sense that they've said, they've made me feel I better not do this anymore, I better not do this. But I think Mindy's right. If you're creative and something's been rejected, you must then turn and just start again. A bit like getting back on the horse, isn't it? Not everything you do will be good. However good you are, not everything you do will be good. And also, failure is of vital importance to your development as a creative person, or as any person, really.
What's that great saying that you learn more from your failures than from your successes? It is so true.
It's very true. What advice do you have for people trying to navigate an office romance or relationship? Don't. Just don't, because it will end in tears. It'll end with you in the box room or wherever you keep the computer cartridges.
Now, you famously
sobbing.
married your co-star.
Yeah, that's not an office relationship. I'm not shoved. But that's like, okay, fair enough, I did it twice. But the first time didn't work out so well, did it? No. So shush.
How do you go about breaking up with friends when the relationship has turned toxic?
That's a good one.
That's a good one. I think the way that I've learned it, I used to be young and dramatic and need to have a big talk and we need to stop hanging out. And what I realized was that drifting away is the way to do it. I think that having a confrontation is probably the least helpful because it makes it more dramatic and more heightened, and you feel like you're inextricably drawn together because of the passion of the fight. So I find that when I'm with a toxic friendship, that I just have to stop showing up for things, canceling plans, but always being cheerful and happy about it while I slowly inch away.
And I think as someone who's very old, it might be useful for you all to know that not all friendships last. that friendships, like books or words or feelings, they sometimes are appropriate for a particular time in your life, and then they become inappropriate. And if you're anything like me, you think, I've got to do everything I can to save this friendship because you feel bad. And actually you don't have to do that. You can look at the friendship and say, okay, what's this person bringing to me? Are they making me happy in any way? And if they are, well, then you work out a way of continuing. If they're not, and because you were asking particularly about toxic friendships, then you need to just drift away.
Like Molly's character in Late Night, a lot of women/women of color are one of few, if not the only ones in their office. How do you navigate being in a room where no one looks like you? At least in TV comedy writing worlds, it's growing less common, which is nice than it was once. You can't change anyone, really. You can't change the people you're with. You could only learn from the experience you're in and then hope that in success you can create a different one. I was the only woman and the only person of color on a show, but that was a place where people were very open-minded. But that won't always be the case. The real way to get through something like that is to work hard separately on your own things so that you can succeed and create a different environment.
I mean, I did it for years when I was doing comedy. I was the only woman. And all the boys thought that was fantastic for me because I got all the attention. And so I was made to feel bad about the fact that I had no one else who was like me in the room. You have to be quite self-reliant, actually. So in a sense, I suppose you can look at it as quite a creative space to be in, because you really are forced to develop yourself. What advice do you have for someone trying to be an actress coming from a family that's telling you to do something more realistic? You could just pretend that you work in retail and then just carry on doing your auditions and say, you know, it's really great in the shoe department at Macy's, and that'll shut them up. You don't have to tell them everything. You know, sometimes being creative is if you're surrounded by people going, oh, for heaven's sake, get a grip, you're never going to earn a living. You can just sort of lie.
The great thing about people who are successful as actors is, I would say, a majority of them did not have people supporting them.
I feel like we should send out machetes with some of these responses. God, sorry.
I'm currently stuck in a cycle of perpetual distraction. Oh.
What do you mean?
Any advice on how to get out of this creative slump and start writing again? I'm inspired by terrible things. So what I like to do is when I'm feeling creatively humdrum, whatever, is I like to just go see a terrible movie, and I feel this instant
I thought you meant you would like to go and visit disaster zones. No. I pictured her in the Mozambique, like, you know, going, well, you know, nothing's going to be this bad. No. Wait, I've had a really good idea.
Maybe that would work. No, not that kind of terrible. I like to see things that are bad. Because it makes me feel like, well, I could do that so much better. And I find it very inspiring.
Reading any magazine about the creative endeavor that you're involved in, just don't ever do that, because you always think everyone's making much better things than you, and there's way too many films being made, and why are you even bothering? So it's good to avoid that. I think to keep yourself creative, you kind of have to go and walk the streets. How do you get over a breakup, especially when the breakup wasn't your decision?
Arson. Burn that house down immediately.
Or if there are curtain rods, take off the ends and push prawns into the space, and they will never ever be able to get rid of the smell or know where the smell is coming from.